Happy Valentine's month, everybody. I'm the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to share with you some of my favorite Valentine's Day episodes from TV shows or even movies. Not everything is all lovey-dovey. Sometimes Valentine's Days deal with heartache and everything. So, some episodes will be romantic and lovey-dovey, while others will be very sad and heart-wrenching and stuff. But love is love. It doesn't always come with smiles and giggles and glee. So I'm here today to talk to you about the sex lives of college girls, the rundown review. I still don't know if this is the show for me. I still can't get into it. I still don't get this show. I still don't get the humor of this show. Kimberly is still both my favorite character and my favorite actress on this show. Well, her real name's not Kimberly, but I forgot the actress name. So she's still all-time my favorite. And her character, in my opinion, is the only one who's getting some real, true character development that seems genuine and realistic. Whereas the other ones are kind of more like TV show kind of character development type wise. I say that because this show is interesting. It feels realistic and yet it doesn't. When you watch it, you will see oh, okay, I've experienced that in college, or I saw that happening in college, and oh, somebody else told me a story like that in college. So you get that sense of realism. So the show was going for that. But then you get the sense of non-realism and the forced way of it feels like a parody. Sometimes it feels like you're watching an SNL sketch, and other times it just feels like you're watching another TV show that's done a whole lot better. And so I just don't know. It's weird. I'm so conflicted with this show. I'm so confused. It's I should like it. It has some good themes here and there, and it tries to teach people a good lesson, but it comes off so cringy or so fake. One thing that's interesting, this show, like I said before, is very culturally diverse. You have everything from different races, different backgrounds, LGBT representation. Not so much heavier people representation. There is one person that is heavyweight, so yeah, it is a representation of everything. You got black, white, somebody who looks Jewish. You have mixture of people white and Native American, a mixture of black and white. You have a woman who's paraplegic. You have a woman who's more heavier set. You have You have really non-stereotypical roles, but then every once in a while you will have that stereotypical role. The main cast are Pauline Charlamagne, she plays Kimberly. Armit Carr, she plays Bella. Renee Rapp, she plays Leighton. Leighton, that's it. I remember late, you being late somewhere. Leighton, not Leighton. So on all my other videos, I kept saying Leighton. But it's Leighton. Ala Chanel Scott, she plays Whitney. The recurring cast members are, even though Wikipedia say they're main cast members, I feel like they're more recurring. Because with 3 of them, you really don't know nothing about them. And they're just there just to be there and add more diversity to the show. But with then there's 2 of them that you kind of get to know a little bit more about, but not until the very end of the series, or season I should say. Galvin Leatherwood, he plays Nico. Mydora Francis, she plays Alicia. Chris Mayer, he plays Kanan. Lila Poloni, she plays Lila. Wait, so she just spells it? No, I hate when people do this in a TV show, especially when they're newcomers. They name their character after the actual person that's playing them. They just spell it differently. Lolo Spencer, she plays Jocelyn. Winika Williams, she plays Willow. Let's start the same way I started with the first video. My favorite all-time character, and the person that caused me to keep going and watching this show, Kimberly. I love this character to death, even though sometimes she doesn't get it, and even sometimes she's rewarded for something she didn't earn. But I love this character to death. She reminds me of a friend that I had back in college, like exactly. Like actually, she reminds me of a couple of people. Okay, so she is kind of like, well, it's weird because she's Jewish in real life, but on the show they call her white. And I don't get that. I don't understand why even Jewish people call themselves white sometimes. I don't understand that. And even on the latest episode of South Park, when Randy's all like, Stan, like, have you ever noticed that all your friends are white and you don't hang out with Token and blah 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 and stuff like that? And it's that Token episode. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, Cal is Jewish, so why does he say he's white? And I don't get that. But anyways, so they call her literally a white girl in the show. So I assume she was white and everything. And so that's why my first video I called her white. But anyway, she is from a predominantly white town, and she doesn't know too much about like people of color, only what she's probably seen like in TV shows and stuff like that. You get an understanding of who she is from her parents right from the get-go. That's a smart thing to do. This show lingers unless you know about the other characters later on and why they are the way they are. But she is like kind of like, she's not racist by no means, but she might like overstep her boundaries a little. Like in one episode, in the I think it was the sixth episode, the one I started liking, she got invited to like this black like event. So she decided, well, if I'm going to a black event, I should dress up like black people from Africa, and she wears a dashiki and everything. And it's like, what the world is she doing and everything? Like, just because you get invited to a black thing, I mean, you have to dress like a black person. So when she does, like, so like her parents was all like, oh, we got Taco Bell for the first time in our city and everything. And, so it's kind of like they're like that, what I'm saying? They're like, well, we ain't racist because we got Taco Bell now. So it's kind of like that, what I'm saying? And so, like, so when she gets to school, she is very poor. She's the poorest out of all the girls in her group. And she's going to this very, very, very expensive college through a scholarship. And so she wants to take like advanced classes. She don't want to take a beginner classes because she wants to show that, hey, that because she's the poor white girl from like this small town and they don't know much about this and that, she can strive just like everybody else and succeed like everybody else. So she takes all these advanced classes like French. Problem is, her French is not as good as everybody else in the class, and the teacher tells her straight up, you need to drop my class. So when she gets a job, she works at like a cafe at the school, and she meets these two people. Now, these two people I've already named for the recurring cast members. I don't think they're main cast members. They are recurring because you don't know nothing about them other than their personalities. And so one of these people is Kaiten, who is a black dude, and Lila, who is the Latino girl. Basically, it's like this. Lila is just there to be a sassy Latin woman. And that is it. That is literally it. The only purpose she like serves on the show is being sassy. That's it. I kid you not. Like, that's literally, you don't know nothing about her, nothing about her family. You don't know how she got to that college because it's very expensive and stuff. You don't know nothing about her. She's literally, and that's why I feel like if you're gonna have somebody of that role, because she's the only Latino person, give her something to do. The only thing, and the only other thing she's there to do is just to talk to Kimberly. When she first meets Kimberly, she don't like her, and then she ends up bonding with her because Kimberly stood up for Kaiten, and then Kimberly started shagging this one dude, and so and then she started liking it because of that. And so other than that, there is no Lila, pretty much, you know what I'm saying? And the other person she meets is Kaiten. her whole thing is still with Nico. She's still crushing on him and everything. And she's very confused because she in episode 4, she went to a party. She was the plus one of Bella. And so she wore this beautiful black dress, right? And Nico saw that on her Instagram and posted that dress. So she was all like, wow, he really likes me in this dress. So she decided to keep the dress because, since he likes on her, why not keep it? So here's the thing though, he didn't delete that comment. She doesn't know why. She talks to all the girls and her roommates, and they said, oh, he must really like you and everything because he wrote it, but then he deleted it. If he deletes it, that don't mean he likes her. So she has this false narrative now. So she's not really sure. So then at some point she does like she just constantly and then she asks her people, her coworkers. And then her coworkers are like, oh yeah, he totally wants you and everything. That don't mean nothing. So, and it's kind of like that has happened before. Like, people have posted stuff or added you and then unfollowed you or or took away the comment. When they take it away, that means they want nothing to do with you or something like that. So then she asks him about that. And he tells her, well, you're my sister roommate, I'm tutoring you, it just wouldn't be appropriate and everything, even though I did like it. So it's kind of like, yeah, he does like her, but he let her know straight up. He deleted it not because, oh, he's madly in love with her, but because it just wasn't the right thing to do. And so that, in my opinion, was a good moment because that was very realistic. Stuff like that has happened so many times. But then something interesting happens when she is at the party in episode 4. She's the plus one. She's there in a nice little gown. Her 2 coworkers, the Latino girl and the black dude, they're there working, serving. They see her and they're offended because they're like, oh, you're not working here. You're actually here at the party, so we have to serve you. So they're kind of upset about that. And that's natural. That's happened before. And then so this causes her to feel bad, but she should not have to feel bad. She ain't do nothing wrong. And so she tries to make it up to Caden. She asks for a Sprite, and then when she does, she starts tipping him. He's like, oh no, I don't want your charity and everything. So she's like, oh no, that's all fine. And it's just kind of like she should listen to him, he's a little offended by this, you know what I'm saying, and stuff, because she's only tipping him, not the tip. Just in general, just the tip because she feels bad and stuff, she felt like she did something wrong. And so once again, this is another teaching lesson for her. But what does she do? She actually does a very humorous thing. She makes a scene. She says really loud in a very strange voice, oh, that was a good martini, I'm gonna give you a huge $20 tip. And he's like, what are you doing? Don't bring attention to this mess. And so it's a hilarious scene, but at the same time she doesn't get it. She thinks she's helping, but she just kind of making a scene of herself. But then this actually does work when an old white dude comes up, like, oh, have a martini, and then he gives him a 50. So then he's all like, all right. And stuff. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like she gets rewarded for this is the problem I had with her in episode 1. She constantly gets rewarded for things she doesn't learn her lesson for. And it's kind of like they need to give her a better teach. Now, she is still my favorite character, and she has the best development out of everybody. But it's kind of like her rewards are just given to her and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? She never has to earn her rewards because she always messes up. I don't understand that. If you mess up, you don't get rewarded. Also, not only is that, but it's kind of the thing, I already said this in the first video. Pretty much when she meets him, she's all like, she literally asks him, you're black. I understand your struggles and stuff, but what is it like to be black? Are you happy being black? She literally asked those questions. She literally asked him, what's it like being black? That's a weird thing to ask a person of color. That's like asking, that's like say if a black person would ask an Asian person, hey, what's it like being Asian? And they're like, well, this normal. You know what I'm saying? But then, there is a proper way to ask that question. You can say I understand, your people going through like some of the stuff in this country, and people treat y'all the way they do, and it's not just one race because like the actress who plays Bella, she exposed her own people on Instagram about how they treat black people in India and stuff like that. They do blackface over there on TV. They mock black people, and she said, white people not the only people who oppress black folks. Other races do too. Other countries do. Asian people, Indian people, Hispanic people, Jewish people, Italian people. Like, it's like everybody just hates us for some reason. And so, like, she's literally that type of person. So he messes with her. He's all like, oh yeah, man, you don't understand the struggles I go through and this and that, and with my family I went through. And he's like, but you think it's bad for me? Wait till you hear about Lila. So then when she talks to Lila next, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe all this happened to your family. I can't believe you're going through this. I feel you, girl. I feel. And Lila's just like, what the are you talking about? And she's all like, but Kaiten told me this and that. And she's like, girl, he's just messing with you. So she gets mad at him for that. And I've already explained what happened in the first episode, but I'm going to quickly do it now. So there's some preppy white guys who are fraternity guys, and they see Kaiten sweeping. So they decide to get a paper ball, throw it at his feet so he can clean up like a little servant. Instead of him defending himself, she defends him, and she makes sure everybody in the caf hears her as she's berating like the white fraternity dudes. And so it's kind of like it's her hero moment, like she's like the savior and everything to him. And I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't he stand up for himself and tell them dudes off? You know what I'm saying? That would have been more powerful and everything. But no, they gotta make it seem like she learned a lesson, but she didn't learn no lesson in that episode, by the way. But now all of a sudden she's learned her lesson, and she's standing up for like the people of color and talking about how he's like pouring on here on a scholarship, and he's not your servant, he's not your slave. All that. I'm just like, that should have been his moment. But they don't give the guys in this show that moment. What they do is that they make every guy in the show a monster, and then the ones who aren't a monster, if they are nice, they're a little bit of a weenie. But for the most part, Kaiten is like the nicest dude in this series. But they did try to tarnish him a little bit with one of his friends saying something about him, but we don't know if that's true or not. But I'll get him just a slight little bit later and stuff. Well, maybe now, I don't know yet. It depends. So in a way with her, so that's her type of like character, but she is the sweetest out of all the characters on the show when it comes to the main four cast members. She is very shy about her body. She doesn't have no brothers and sisters. She's not used to dressing and undressing in front of people. When she does that in the dorm, she literally changes in the closet and everything. However, she does start to explore more her sexual side, her more body positivity side, I guess you could call it, whatever. I don't know what really what the term is. Because like once she starts going to like frat parties and drinking, and her friends all like, girl, stop covering up, because she does dress very frumpy. She dresses in these big sweaters and everything. And so in the first episode, her boyfriend from who she dated in high school comes to visit her, and they're both virgins. They do it only for him to say after that, oh, we need to break up and everything. So basically he just came there to take her virginity. So she's heartbroken over that. And when you look at him, no judgment, but he's like no like Chris Hemsworth. Let's put it like that, right? So a lot of people's all like, he's your lead, but Nico, who is Leighton's brother, is out of your league. Nico is a dude from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina who played Nick. He's muscular, he's ripped. He's the type of dude who would date like a supermodel. Okay, he looks like one himself, you know what I'm saying? And so people on the show kept telling her like he's out of your league or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And in society, when you stop and look at that, even though she is a gorgeous woman, a lot of women like her don't end up with guys like him. That's just the reality of it, you know what I'm saying? And so the show reward, and so she had eyes for him even when she dated her boyfriend. So that was naughty right there, that she was having those feelings and stuff like that, and she professes like the love her boyfriend. But you know, she is rewarded by having Nico hit on her and flirt with her and eventually start dating her and everything. And with her dating him and her partying and drinking more and exploring her sexuality, she is now changed in appearance. Now gone are the sweaters, and now she's wearing low-cut shirts that show off her cleavage and everything. And when she goes to parties, she wears these like really like sexy looking dresses and stuff. So, and this happens a lot with a lot of people. It's like they're kind of like they're like in there like they think of it like a flower. It's a seed. The seed gets a little water, and then it starts to blossom and everything. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what happened to her. She is blossoming. She is like changing. She is evolving, and stuff like that. And she's no longer like, and she's still that sweet nerdy dorky girl. So that's a good thing about her. So not everything has changed about her. Normally when girls like that change, everything changes, especially their personalities and stuff. And so like so she doesn't want Leighton to know that she's dating her brother, so she keeps it completely secret. However, since she is a newly found girl who has sex for the first time with her ex-boyfriend, her and Nico do start doing it a lot in one episode, to where she's all like, I think I'm a sex addict. What happened? She got totally distracted. She fell behind in her classes. She showed up to work late. She always had the walk of shame and everything, right? And it's just like she's neglecting the reasons why she went to college, all for a boy and everything. This happens to a lot of people and stuff. And so, like, she's failing her classes. So they're all like, okay, why don't you just do some extra credit, this and that. Well, she makes a huge mistake. When she's there with Nico in the teacher's office, they get so horny, they start to do it. And then the teacher walks in. He's upset, but he's like, whatever, just like leave, and I'm not going to expel you, nothing like that. And so it gets to the point where she's not even studying for her classes and she's not doing the extra credit. So she is failing bad. And remember, she is on a scholarship. So towards the end of the season, it is revealed through Leighton, who's talking to her significant other, that her friend Maya is coming to visit because it's Nico's birthday. Why is Maya so important? It's Nico's girlfriend, his supermodel looking girlfriend, who was studying abroad in, I think, Paris or something like that. And so Kimberly does not know that. Her friends do not know that. However, her friends' roommates, they do know she's banging Nico, but they promise not to tell Leighton. Well, at the party, you can guess what happens. It is revealed, boom, he has a girlfriend. She is devastated, heartbroken by this, and she is furious. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, remember when I said she was failing her classes? Nico tells her, oh yeah, because he was tutoring her in French. But he's all like, why tutor you and I can just give you the answers. Him and his fraternity have all the answers to so many classes at that school from like past students in the past, and also their tests that are ones that are like good grades and stuff. There are so many like cheat sheets you will not believe. So he gives it to her. And so she was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. But then when he breaks her heart, she gets furious and she gets mad. She's all like, you know what? I ain't got time to study, so I'm just gonna cheat. So she goes into the frat, she steals the test papers, and so that's gonna be that. She tells Kaden that because they have the same class. It's a very hard advanced class. And the dude, and she tells him, I'm just gonna cheat. I have a cheat sheet. And he's all like, you can't do that. The test is literally 3 hours long. You can't rush that thing or they're gonna know something's up. And you haven't studied, and he knows you're not prepared because you've been failing the class, but she doesn't care. She's going to do it anyway. And this is kind of messed up because it's like she's such a goody two-shoes, but now she's going to do something bad. And this is all spiraling all because she's distraught in the head and she's not thinking straight. So, but then she also gets a UTI from Nico. And so, like, when she goes and take her test, she keeps telling the teacher, I gotta use the bathroom. I got this UTI. I'm burning down there. So she's constantly making excuses to leave the classroom for her UTI. And the teacher lets her. Now, she goes to the bathroom to study the answers. And she hides it and where the toilet paper's at, right? This one doesn't make no sense. One time when she is in the bathroom, she can't find the test paper. She knows somebody stole it. She goes in every stall and cannot find it. And so, like, it's like, where is it? When she leaves the restroom, boom, there's her teacher, and there's a female teacher too. Somehow the female teacher found that, which I guess she went to go use the restroom, and they were just waiting for and she figured what the classroom is for, and so she was just waiting for them to show up. So that was kind of convenient, but hey, whatever. Because like I said, it's a 10 episode story arc. So she has to now talk to the student board about why she shouldn't be expelled, right? And she's telling Lila this because Lila's only purpose is to be sassy and give her advice. And she's all like, look, you got the test answers from this dude and his fraternity. I say rat them out. It's you versus them. So then she's all like, yeah. So she's going to do it. So she tells her roommates this without Leighton. And so they help her steal it. And so when she's talking to the board, she's all like, I'm a poor girl, but I'm not here talking about why I'm poor and this and that. I just want you to know that I'm here at this school for a reason and and I want to take this seriously. But then they're not that convinced. So she gives them the test papers, all the test papers that the fraternity dude stole. And so, like, because of this, the frat is now in trouble, which they should be. But here's the thing that makes me a little upset. Yes, the frat should be punished for having all these cheat sheets. However, the only reason why she did that is because she's furious and she hasn't studied. And it's kind of like if he never cheated on her, she would have never confessed to the whole cheat sheet paper thing, and she would have never ratted him out. So, but of course, they, in a way, at first she is rewarded because nothing happens to her. And that kind of pissed me off. I'm just like, yo, she screwed up too. But then she is punished at the very last scene of this season. Even though the school said they are not going to kick her out, they have revoked her scholarship. And now she's like, crap, how in the world I'm going to pay for college now? And I don't have the money. So now this is a big thing about next season. What's she going to do? Because it has been renewed. So most likely they're going to the writer's going to come up with some kind of way to reward her to get all the money. Either she's going to get like a fancy job, she's going to borrow the money from Leighton because she's really rich, or borrow it from Nico, or she's going to have to drop out and go to like a community college or something. Something's going to happen, but I bet you anything is going to be like, hey, let's reward her. And not only that, but they're kind of doing this whole thing though, because she's done with Nico. But then when she tells Nico, like, hey, look, I ratted y'all out, this and that, he's all like, good, you did the right thing. And it's kind of like, well, hold up. So now all of a sudden he's a saint. Y'all trying to redeem him because he's the eye candy of the show and fans are going to eventually want them to get back together. No, this is that same Sabrina or Chilling Adventures of Sabrina crap. When he played Nick, he cheated on Sabrina and then they broke up for a good while, only for them to get back together and him to be like, oh, I love you. And she's like, oh, I love you back. And then fans are like, oh, we love this. And no. He played literally the same character, a cheating jerk and everything. And don't reward him by making people forgive him. Here's something strange about the Kimberly character that I still don't understand. Remember when she asked Kanan, what's it like being black? Why didn't she just ask Whitney, her roommate? Her roommate's black. So wouldn't that be like the first person she would ask? And why did she act all strange when she was around Kanan about the whole like nature of being black and stuff? I don't get that. Like, that's why I don't understand about the weird writing of this show. You'd think if she had all these questions about black people, she would just ask her roommate and stuff. Also, I don't understand her fixation with black people in this show, because they had her like, ask him what's it like being black, and then she wore that dashiki because like she was going to this black event. But how come she don't never ask Bella what's it like being like, Indian living in America and stuff, or what your people are like? Like, she never did that. Like, it's just kind of weird. So that's why I also think it would have been better to hook her and him up Whitney, she is the daughter of a senator and she hates her mom. Why does she hate her mom? It's kind of revealed a little bit in the beginning of the first episode, but also it probably has something to do also with the sixth episode too. See, she feels like she gets like she doesn't like the idea of people thinking she's spoiled and she only gets what she wants because her mom's a senator. People think she gets special treatment because of her mom, and she probably does because of her mom. 'Cause a lot of people like her mom as a senator. Now, so her mom is very blunt, very rude and everything, and like Whitney is not. Whitney is the complete opposite. Whitney kind of reminds me of kind of like the reverse Meghan McCain. See, Meghan McCain is a very rude, very blunt, very nasty, disgusting scumbag of a human being. The whole thing about Meghan is that Meghan only gets what she gets in life because of her father's last name. That reminds me of the Whitney character. So that's why she hates her mom, because she feels like she only gets what she is because of her mom. And she does soccer at school, right? And so when she's doing the whole soccer thing, she's actually a good soccer player. So that's why she gets like the high profiles that she does from like the assistant coach and the head coach. But one of the girls, Jenna, thinks she's only getting a high praise and the ranking that she's getting is because her mom's a senator. It's found out that she is actually sleeping with the assistant coach. It's never stated how old he is, but he is older than her. Okay, by the way, all these girls about like 18 because they just came out of high school and it's their freshman year of college. Now, my problem is like, okay, you've heard me talk about this before. I hate when teachers date their students. When I say that, I mean high school and middle school and I hope not elementary. I hope no teacher is dating no elementary person. But I hate when they dating the underage ones, right? 18, even though it has the word teen in it, they're technically adults. That is the legal adult age. But the legal adult drinking age, of course, is 21. So even though she is sleeping with her coach, she is an adult, right? You know what I'm saying? But the problem with that is that she is getting special treatment from him and she doesn't care. And when I was in college, man, you would not believe how many of like my teachers were dating my classmates. And one of my classmates was actually my friend. I was just like, how in the world is this girl getting better grades than me and I'm smarter than her? I don't understand that. But then I found out towards the end of the semester, she was banging him. Then there was this other student. She got into a better college because she was banging her teacher. And then like I remember there was these other two teachers, they were banging their students, only for one of them to break up with her and everybody knew about it. And it's like, because the big no-no is a teacher in college can date a student. It just can't be their student. So he broke that rule by dating her. And so and I'm not sure how old he is because the age varies in this show. Because Kimberly is actually 30 years old and she's playing an 18-year-old, and you'll never know the difference. Now, some of the other people are like in their late 20s and their early 20s, and so I don't know how old the assistant coach is. However, he of course he doesn't want to get found out because if they get found out, he's gonna get fired. And so, um, when she is out and about like a soccer thing with one of her classmates teammates, Willow, who's like a lesbian, and stuff, her and Willow are great friends. I really like the Willow character and stuff. They really did that right between those two because Willow isn't like the predatory lesbian, so they did her justice for that. And she's also not the rude lesbian and stuff. She's actually nice. She's very sarcastic. She's there for humor purposes and stuff. And so, but that's kind of like the only reason why she's there. She's only there to be friends with Whitney and there to be like sarcastic and tell jokes. Because we don't know nothing about her either, but yet she's a so-called main character. And so when Whitney is showing her pictures on the phone, she forgot that she has a picture of the assistant coach with his shirt off and everything. And so Willow's like, I saw that. And what's going on with that? So she tells her. So she keeps it a secret, right? Well, Whitney finds out while jogging one day when she sees the assistant coach out and about, he has a wife. She is devastated. She is heartbroken. She breaks up with him. So what does she do? She rebounds with Kaiten, of all people and stuff. Like I said, Kaiten's really only there to be nice to Kimberly and to bang Whitney. He has no purpose. And so she bangs him. And after banging him, we don't see her talk to him no more until halfway towards the end of the season. So it's kind of like, dude, you literally just used him. And people do that when they're heartbroken. But then here's the weird thing. After banging Kaiten, she decides, hey, I'm going to get back with Dalton, who's the assistant coach. Even though she knows he has a wife. Therefore, she is bad in that regard. He's terrible for not only messing around with a student, but also cheating. So he's kind of like, dude, why is she messing around with him? But oh, she's so-called in love. Here's one thing about this that's never been answered in this entire season. How in the world did they meet? If she's a freshman, this is her first time going to the school, her first time meeting him, and she joined the soccer team within like a few days, when exactly did this all take place? Because she literally said she is in love with him. And so either she is the hopeless romantic who falls in love really quickly, or she known him before that. And I say that because she does end up dating another student, but she doesn't fall in love with him very quickly. So that's one problem I have with the writing is when did they get together? And Willow literally asked, when did this happen? And it's never answered because the writers don't know. And so he's all like, you know what, I'm gonna break up with my wife and be with you because I da, 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 da. So he's lying to her because he never breaks up with his wife, and they go on these romantic dates and all this and that. But then he tells her finally that because things are starting to get a little it's hard for them to sneak around now, and he's all like, look, I don't want to lose my job. If I get found out, I'll get canceled and nothing will happen to you. So, and one thing that brought this up, because she got in trouble. See, what she did was she found out that the guys' locker room looks better than the ladies, and it does. And so she decides she's going to show it. So she records it, and I think she even live streamed it. And nobody was in there at that time. So she's recording everything. She turns around, boom, naked dudes everywhere. She gets in trouble. The head coach and assistant coach had to call her mom and everything. She's like, no, my mom can't find this out. Because she's terrified of her mom also. She's like, my mom will kill me. My mom wants to be reelected and stuff. And she don't want no scandals. And so this causes him to be all like, man, I need to stop this because she's going to somehow expose me. So he breaks up with her. And he tells her, I'm staying with my wife. I never broke up with her. She is heartbroken by this. Talking about, I love you and all this and that. So she gets mad. She takes a brick and she busts out his car window. And so after that, we don't see him no more. Why? Because, well, now there's an investigation. Why is there an investigation? Because the bus driver saw him making out with one of his players, and it happens to be a black girl, but they don't know it's a black girl just yet. So the head coach is asking around, hey, you know anything? We heard he was messing around with a student, a soccer student, player and stuff like that. And so she's playing off. She's like, no, I don't know who that is, but it might be like this one person or something like that. So then Willow comes to her and she's all like, girl, I just covered for you. She's like, why? She's all like, because the bus driver saw y'all doing it, but he don't know who he was doing it with. All he knows it was a black girl. And there's only 2 black people on that team. And one happens to be a lesbian. And so she decides when her mom comes to school, because her mom finds out about this scandal, because it turns out that he has done this before at another college. So she gets upset and she starts texting him. She literally reveals in the 6 episodes that it's been like a whole month since that happened, and she is depressed because of this. Hell, we never see her depressed over this. That would have been a great thing for them to show, because that would have added more depth and layer and development and stuff like that. But they didn't go that route. It just, she literally is about the same person who she is. Oh, by the way, unlike her mom, who's rude and blunt, she is very nice. Like, she is very pleasant to be around. So that's kind of weird that, her mom is this rude person and she's the way she is. I'll get into that a little bit later. So anyway, you know what she does? She lies and said that the black girl he was doing it with was Willow. But Willow's a lesbian. But not a lot of people know that. But people on the team should know that. But her mom does not know that. So, before she gets into, tells her mom all this stuff, the head coach, she decides she's gonna do the right thing and confess to the head coach. The head coach happens to be a lesbian, by the way. When I said there's a lot of LGBT in this show, there's a lot of LGBT in this show. So thank God they're finally getting represented. Sometimes in good ways, sometimes in bad, sometimes in weird, cringy kind of ways. But at least they're getting represented. And so she talks to the head coach, and the head coach all like, this is terrible. You're such a good player. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to report it. So her head coach is going to cover it all up. So it's kind of like, okay, well, hold up. Now, what the assistant coach Dalton did was terrible, but she knew what she was doing. This is not one of those situations where a teacher from high school dates like a teenager and manipulates them and brainwashes them. She is a grown woman now. She knows right from wrong. And so she deserves some punishment as well, because think about it. She got back with him. Like, I can understand when she didn't know he had a wife, but when she found out he had a wife, that made her terrible and everything. So when she's telling her mom about this whole, like, Willow is straight and this and that, so Willow's playing it up, being like, oh yeah, me and him did it and all this other stuff, because her mom saw the scandal in the newspaper. And so, like, but then she finally decides she's gonna confess to her mom, right? And say, Mom, it was me. Do you know what her mom says? Instead of blaming her, instead of her being punished for getting special, because she did get special treatment on the soccer team because of that, and for messing around with a married man when she knew he was married, and her mom's all like, honey, this is my fault. How the world is it her fault? She's like, people always give you special treatment because of me, and how is it her mom's fault? Her mom did not guide her by the hand, be like, honey, sleep with this married man. She did not do that. So I hate that the show wrote this way. They wrote her to be kind of like this, like not being punished and everything for something she did that was wrong. And then not only that, but she blamed other people. Like, she was pointing the finger at other folks and everything, and literally lied on, like, the lesbian girl, Willow, who has always had her back since the very first episode, and who is, like, literally one of her best friends. So she is not a good character, but the show writes her to be a good character, because women are good and men are bad. Also with Whitney, we find out a little bit more why she might have went with an older man. See, she has daddy issues. She hates her mom, and her mom and her dad are divorced. Her dad is never there. He like plays the bass, and he literally doesn't go to the parents like dinner thing because he's in another like state trying to like be a singer and all this other crap. And so she's heartbroken by that. And her mom literally tells her, when your dad does show up, you hate me, but when he doesn't, you like me and all this other stuff. And I don't understand why you hate me so much, because it's never really truly revealed why she hates her mom, other than the fact she's getting special treatment by other people and she don't like that. And so it's like she has daddy issues, and a lot of girls that do have daddy issues, they do date older men, or they mess around with their teachers. Same thing with dudes who have mommy issues and stuff like that. And so my thing is just kind of like, why is she constantly being rewarded? And then what makes matters even more interesting is that both the assistant and the head coach got fired because of this scandal and everything. The head coach, the only thing, she really didn't even do nothing, but of course she didn't report it and everything. But it's not like, it's not like she was underage, because she was an adult. She knew what she was doing, and he didn't assault her or nothing like that. It was consensual. So it's kind of weird, because like, okay, yeah, the head coach should have been in trouble for not reporting it, but then I guess, yeah, firing her probably would have been the best probably thing. Because if this is happening again, she's not going to report it. So they can't trust her no more. But maybe they could have suspended her, docked her pay, or something. Like, I don't know. Maybe firing was a little too much and everything. But then she did cover it up and stuff. So it's one of those type of things where I'm kind of conflicted. It's kind of like, should she have been fired? Should she have been punished in another way? Is there another way to like redeem her? Because um at some point people have to be forgiven. Now he can't because he's done this multiple times and stuff. But the head coach is one of those type of things. Now, one thing also about her that I noticed, that her and Leighton, they went to like a sorority, I guess like mixer recruitment type thing, because they both got letters for it. Leighton was all happy and excited for it. Whitney was not, but she went anyway for some bizarre reason. And she didn't want to dress up for the event. She basically wanted to do everything anti sorority to make them not like her. And so Leighton was trying to smooth and suck up as best as she can, while Whitney did the complete opposite. But then everybody ended up loving Whitney, only for her to say, you know what, this ain't for me, bye, and everything. And it's just kind of like, I don't understand really the point of that, because it's kind of like, why didn't she like the sorority? Not, but with Whitney, she, it turns out she's part of this like black group in like college, which I didn't even know, because I never remember seeing her sign up for it or nothing like that, right? But apparently she knows all these people. Well, she barely knows them because she doesn't really go to meetings and she really didn't talk to people. But she gets brought in because of Caton. Her friends convinced her to date him because, one, they banged already, and two, he's a really sweet, nice guy. So now she all of a sudden, about a couple of months into this, now she's back to doing the whole Caton thing after not talking to him. And that's like really messed up, because he's actually a nice guy. So they end up dating and they end up doing it. And then she's constantly hanging out with this black society group. And the people in that society, I like them. They're not stereotypes. Well, the one girl's kind of loud. And yeah, black people are loud. I'm loud. That stuff. It's just the truth of the matter. But then here's my problem with this. This show tries its best to be diverse and progressive, and it does that with a lot of different ethnic groups and stuff. But sometimes they just have it on the show and be like, here, this is that, but they don't do nothing. We don't know nothing about this black group. All they do is literally sit around by themselves in this like part of the school campus, and they just talk and hang out, and that's it. They don't talk about no important matters. They don't talk about why they formed this group. They don't talk about Black Lives Matter. They don't talk about how like they don't get invited to like the fraternities and sororities. Because the thing about fraternities and sororities, they're predominantly white, no matter what campus you go to. And if there is a predominantly white sorority, there is always that one black person. So then we see her towards the end of the season, in the last couple episodes, constantly hanging out with this black group and then dating like Caton and stuff. And so it's kind of like, okay, didn't even know she was in this like black group. And so let's do something with that. Hopefully they'll do something with that second season. If not, they just showing them just to be diverse and everything. But don't just check it off your list. Do something with them. You know what I'm saying? But the whole her and Caton thing, I don't like that at all. I don't like how she rebounds and go with him, all because she can't have her assistant coach. And also, I want him to end up with Kimberly. They will make a better couple, and I've already explained why. With Whitney, she's 18, and one of the girls, Willow, the one who's like a lesbian on her team, she found out about her and Dalton because they was at this place. They got drunk. She was showing her pictures on her phone, but then mistakenly, there was a picture of him on the phone with his shirt off. And so she's like, why you got a picture of the assistant coach on your phone? And then so they had to talk in private. And then so like she tells him like, oh, I'm falling in love with him, blah, 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 stuff like that. And she's all like, and then so Willow asked the most important question of them all that still has not been answered. How did this all start? They won't explain, because it's kind of like, how? Because she's 18 years old, a freshman in college. She just met him like a few days ago, and all of a sudden it happened. And he doesn't look like a student. And so he's an assistant coach, so he has to be like a teacher. And so, yeah, how did it all start? So she decided she was gonna leave him, and then she was gonna go Cannon, is that his name? I forget. And then so she hasn't been with him in a long time since that one episode. I guess it was just like a one night stand. And then all of a sudden, now she's back in the arms, all lovey dovey with like, the coach dude. And so he's lying to her, talking about like, look, I sent my wife this important text. We need to talk. And he shows it to her. She's like, oh, you really do love me. He set up this romantic like movie type thing out in the woods with lights. And then when he gets home, of course, he's still with his wife. And so it's kind of like, I get they want to show, hey, look, this is the female, or no, but this is the student who got coerced by like an adult teacher and they've been lied to. Okay, fine. I've seen that before. I don't like it, but at least they're adults. And so, like, the only problem with that, I've seen this done a million times before in a million different teen and young adult dramas, and it's always written better. Um, and it's just like this is written off as kind of like a stupid parody comedy. So I'm just like, this is supposed to be a teaching moment, but how are you supposed to teach somebody when it's just like stupid? And because, like I said before, I've seen this just recently done in 5 points that I reviewed. I've seen this in Guidance, which it's gonna be kind of hard to review because it's not on Hulu no more. I gotta really think about the stuff I remember on that show. So memory don't fail me now. I've seen this on Pretty Little Liars. I've seen this on The Wilds. You see that in pretty much every teen drama there is. And so I don't understand. This is supposed to be a teaching moment to teach females not to like listen to their lying teacher about how they love them, this and that. Why isn't it done better? Why is she once again just hopping in his arms and falling for his stupid stuff? She should be more smart than that. Her mom is a senator, for crying out loud. It's not like she's that stupid in the head, you know what I'm saying? She's not even a real teenager. She's an adult in college. So I don't get that. Now, there's a scene with Whitney that is really interesting because I witnessed something like this before. Now, the part that I did not witness, this is the part I did not witness. Whitney got in trouble. She was talking to like a soccer dude. First, she was cool until Willow told her that the soccer guys have a better locker room than us. She didn't believe it. So what did she do? She wanted to prove it. So she goes in there when nobody's in there, at least so she thinks they're not. And with her camera, she's live feeding everything. This will never happen. You would totally go to jail for this. Anyway, so it is nice. It looks like an actual NBA locker room type thing. Like fancy, 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 fancy. You know what I'm saying? And so she turns around and boom, they happen to be a bunch of guys naked, changing, showering. So of course she gets in trouble. She gets in trouble big time, as she should. But then what happens? Her senator mom calls, and all of a sudden she's not so much more in trouble. And of course, one of the people who was there was the assistant coach in the office with the head coach. And so like so that's kind of just like a laughing matter. She ain't getting major trouble. She ain't go to jail. She didn't like get kicked out, nothing like that, because she never intended to videotape them nude, but it still happened. But of course, she doesn't get in trouble because this show doesn't like to have that type of consequence. However, when she is at the party, she meets the dude who was talking about his nice locker room, and he and her started going on about like who's better at sports, men or women. He did the macho thing, said men are better because they have muscles, this and that. Okay, this is the part I have witnessed. So what do they do to prove it? They have a running contest. This has happened when I was at college. Me and this old friend of mine who ain't friends no more, we used to always get into arguments because she always would attack men for like no reason. And every conversation she had, she turned into a male versus female thing. At a point, I just had enough of it. I'm like, I'm out. I'm not gonna argue with you every day. And so like, then there was this other situation where I was with this group of guys and one female friend, and her female friend was spending a weekend with her. And something happened between her and our friends. A whole male versus female thing. Now, the guy who's now a cop, he doesn't like being told, oh, women are superior to men and blah, 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 blah. So they had a race. They decided they was going to run. How, okay, and so, okay, fine, whatever. Who's going to be faster? Let's just say that. He beat her. Now, how does Whitney prove this? On a treadmill. On a treadmill. Why didn't they just go outside and race? That would have been so much better. But instead, they go on a treadmill and they do a bunch of miles. And of course, who wins? Whitney. Because this show is all about female empowerment. And also, the guy is probably a little drunk. So that's not kind of fair on his part to prove anything. But then, if this is supposed to be such a teaching moment, they ruined all that with humor. Josh Whedon type humor. After she won, she's celebrating on a treadmill. But she realizes she ain't moving on the treadmill. She stops. So what happens? The treadmill pulls her back. She hits her face on the treadmill. Blood is in her teeth, and and everybody's like, "Ooh!" But she's like, "Woohoo!" and everything. And it's just kind of like it's a stupid humor a moment. It's kind of like if this was supposed to be impactful and supposed to prove something, why did you mess it up with humor and everything? I don't get that. But then. Now, the consequences of the locker room action and the potential her exposing him to her friends has made Dalton realize that, hey, we need to end this. And everything. I have not told my wife. Of course, she's furious and everything because he lied to her. But at that same time, she got back with him knowing had his wife. But he tricked her into thinking that he was leaving his wife. But he did that before. And it just didn't work. And so, like, I don't understand. So it's like, okay, he's terrible for cheating on his wife and using Whitney. At least he finally had the common sense to finally break things off and everything. So, but I'm still not giving him a pass because what he did was terrible. However, Whitney, you have to put the blame to her too. Because first she had messing around with her coach. And she was getting special treatment. And she knew she was. And she didn't care. So that's bad on her part. Now, after she found out he was married, she did the right thing. And she left him. Only to go right back to him and everything. And so it's kind of like, where was her like big speech about, oh, I should never done this, blah, blah. She never got special treatment? No. Instead, they do the typical, oh, she's a teen. And let her take a rock and throw it at his car and break his window. She's not a teenager. She's 18. I don't care if the word teen is in 18. You're still an adult in college and everything. And so, like, then you have to think about what about, how is his name? Caden? What's the black dude's name? I'm gonna call him Cannon. That's something I can't really pronounce it that way. CAN something. And so it's kind of like, what about him? She messed around with him, not one night stand, but that was all it was, a one night stand. I'm gonna get into Leighton first before I get into Bella because Bella confuses the crap out of me. So Leighton, she is the closeted lesbian. When we first meet her, she is very rude, very blunt. And when we meet her father, we understand a little bit of that because at first he was nice. He loves the school they're going to. He donates tons of money. They are very rich. But he thinks that her friends from high school are a-holes. And I'm just like, why does he think that for? And something, maybe he's just like, maybe they are, you know what I'm saying? Until we meet her friends from high school. See, she was supposed to be in the dorm with them. They didn't want that. They don't like her secretly. And so they made it so where she couldn't be their roommate. And so like, so then it's like, we see how rude she is to them. He's like, see, I told you, a-holes. And then it's kind of like, okay, he's rude and stuck up and rude and mean. And that's where she gets her bluntness and rude from. At first, I did not like her character. I slowly started liking her a little bit more as the season progressed. But it took to about the 5th or 6th episodes for her to be likable and everything. Why? Because she is very rude and blunt. She is rude to everybody. And I mean everybody. It don't matter who you are. And so I don't understand how she had these friends in high school because when you look at them, they don't look nothing like her. They don't act nothing like her. So it's kind of like, how did she get them? But then we start to find out certain things. After she's been rude to her roommates, she decided to make it up by buying them gifts, new tablets or something like, or no, laptops or something like that. So she buys her friends and stuff like that because she is so rich. And so, like, we find out in the end of the first episode, she is a closeted lesbian. And so she is like on Grindr, she meets random like females and she hooks up with them, right? And so after she does that, she blocks them so they won't contact her. She does not want nobody to know who and what she is. And and then the thing about that is kind of like, okay, like the lady she hooked up with a little bit of an older lady, and it was kind of like she had the same question I do. Like, you're 18, your generation is all about being out and proud. Why aren't you, like, why are you keeping this a secret? I didn't understand that because so many people are just so out and about and accept it now. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, okay, so what is her problem with that? But it's never revealed until like the ninth episode. I'm like, you waited to the ninth episode to explain that? And it's kind of like, because there was so many conflicting things with her that was just kind of like, I don't get it. Like, do you hate like the LGBT or not? Or you hate yourself? Like, what's going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so like, every time like that lady she was hooking up with, the lady was all like, you should just be out and all this other stuff. She's all like, no, I don't want to be out. I don't want nobody knowing who I am. And you don't know what you're talking about. And she just stops talking to that lady, right? And when the lady was just trying to help her. And so like her brother is okay with LGBT, so that's not the problem. And then so in the sixth episode, I'm like, okay, maybe it's her parents. And maybe she don't want her parents to know. But then she doesn't want nobody at school to know. And she doesn't want nobody and stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting. Now she does try to get into that sorority, but they're not really feeling her that much, but she's sucking up to them as much as possible. Um, she wants to do everything she can to get into that. I don't know if she wants to be in that sorority just to be in it or because it'll make her dad happy. Her dad wants her to. It's probably more the dad thing because he loves that school to death and he wants her to do this and do that. When they took a group picture, he took so many takes to where they can get it just right of them all wearing the jersey and jumping up and down. And so like it's probably his approval that she's looking for probably. We find out why also she's so rude. Her mom is disgusting, stuck up trophy wife type like scum. You know what I'm saying? Like her mom is nasty, rude, and that's where she gets that from also. And so she is the sister of Nico. It took me a while to figure out why, because she has blonde hair, he has black. The actor is half white, half Native American, but the mom looks kind of Native American too, or something. So that's where he gets that from. So now her and Nico, it's like weird. Like they don't have really no scenes together. He's older than her. He's been there before her. Also, when he talks to her, it's almost like he's into her. But that's just the actor. Every time that actor talks to anybody on the show, he acts like he's into them. So he needs to stop that. I don't know why he does that, because in the Sabrina show, he didn't do that. So, and so, like, the only time they have really good chemistry is when they arguing with each other. And so she gets so upset one night when she's like talking to somebody on the phone and she vandalizes a statue, and just so happens that the campus security is there, so she gets in trouble. She has to do some type of community service so she don't get kicked out. So she joins okay, in my other parts of this audio you're gonna hear me say a feminist group. It's not so much really. That's it. I recorded that before I recorded this. And remember I said I keep redoing it and stuff. So you're gonna hear me say that when I bring this other stuff up when it comes to the LGBT people and stuff. And maybe I should just redo that. Since it is slightly inaccurate and everything. So I'll probably redo that, yeah. So like she joins this kind of like support group for females and stuff. We've had one of those on my campus, but instead of it being just for females, it was for everybody who was sexually assaulted and stuff. So that's one thing about people. They always assume it's always females that sexually assaulted, but men are too. But women are more, especially on college campuses. I remember this one girl I talked to, like I met her through like I think like my friend, it was her roommate, something like that. But I don't know how I met her. I just met her somehow, and so like then I noticed for so many years I didn't see her, and she no longer lived on campus. Turned out she was raped by her roommate's boyfriend, and I'm all like, "Why didn't you go to the cops?" And she's like, "No, I don't want to like deal with it. I just want to forget that ever happened." And it's sad because people shouldn't have to live through that. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't go to the cops for her because she had to be the one to like confess to the police and all this other stuff, and then she wasn't going to do that. My hands were literally tied, and all I wanted her to do was just like get this dude, but she couldn't. I don't know the dude who did like mess with her and stuff because I forgot who her roommate was and stuff, and I don't even think she told her roommate. So it's very sad because this happens a lot in life and especially on campus. This is why they teach people, especially women, when you're at a club or a party, you watch your drink. And if a dude invites you to their dorm room, even though you shouldn't judge all guys and think all guys are bad, there's a good possibility he's there to mess with you, like have sex with you and stuff. And so that's never a good thing. And and there's always the whole don't walk around campus at night by yourself, or at night anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Because women are like the main targets to like sexual predators, and it's very sad and it's very disgusting. And so like what the heck was I talking about? Oh, now I remember. I got off topic. So she joins the support group, right? That's female centric only, which I feel like that's a good thing, but it should have been for both male and female. But hey, whatever. The women there are okay. This is the part where I think about if I'm gonna replay the audio of the other thing or not. It's kind of long, and I want to chop it up. Okay, let's put it like this. They are your type of stereotypical characters. The very extreme characters. The ones that seem kind of like a parody. You know what I'm saying? You have the non-binary person. You have the female who is like scared of all men. You have these two who have no personality. Then you have like the lesbian. And when they introduce themselves to her, so this is the part that confused me because I've never heard people really talk like this before. Since they was written to be kind of like a stereotypical like females and LGBT people, they sounded very alien to me. Like I could not understand what they were saying because they kept using all these slang terms that are new. They kept using all these LGBT terms I've never heard of before, and I was just like so confused. And then the Alicia character, who's like the head of that, who's also like a main character, kind of recurring also. She's the love interest of like Leighton and everything. Okay, if you heard me call her Leighton, or call her like a female group of this and that, I probably used the old audio. I probably just didn't feel like redoing it and stuff. But yeah. So they become like a thing after this, right? But Leighton keeps her in complete secret. And so at first, Alicia is okay with it. She's like, okay, I understand you're not ready. I understand. Like I was the same way many years ago, right? You know what I'm saying? And so like, so then like they keep dating more and more and more and more, and they're doing stuff. But then it's getting to the point where Alicia is getting tired of being kept a secret. She feels like she is almost like she's tired of being like a hidden property. It's starting to make feel like she's like she feels like Leighton is ashamed of her and stuff like that. So she does keep trying to persuade Leighton to like come out and talking about, you'll be more happier, more free, and all this other stuff. I do not want to have to be a secret. I do not want to have to be with somebody who is not truly being themselves because, I went through that and it was so hard for me to come out to my two grandmas. I noticed something about this show. When I said this show is very LGBT like friendly, it's very LGBT friendly. Like there are so many times you will hear the term "my two dads," "my two moms," "my two grandmothers." This is my wife. Like it's very, very, very LGBT like friendly and stuff. And that's because Justin is part of the LGBT community, who helped write and create this show. Mindy, I have no idea what she is. I just know she's married to a dude. But then again, you never know. You know what I'm saying? And so like, what is it? So like, those two have like this huge argument throughout like the rest of like probably like the 5th to the 10th episode, right? And so then they decide, okay, they're just gonna get away. They're gonna get like a hotel in another city and do this and that. Well, Alicia took a selfie of herself in the hotel with a robe on and posted it to Instagram. However, Leighton's bag is in like the picture. She's all like, delete this picture now because for people to know that this might be me. And she's all like, oh great, now Bella like commented on your picture. She must know it's me. She's all like, you must delete this thing now. She's all like, it's just a bag. It could be anybody's bag. And she's all like, nobody's gonna think that you're hanging out with somebody who has a bag that's expensive unless it's mine, because you don't hang out with that type of people or something like that. So that really offends her, and you can see the heartbreak on her face when she said that, literally saying that nobody rich will hang out with her or like date her, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but she's so shameful to not want people to know what she is. So then she finally confesses in episode 9 why she is the way she is and why she don't want nobody to know. She said she doesn't want people looking, staring at her. She doesn't want people thinking she is a stereotype, and she doesn't want to change who she is just because now people know what she is. She said her personal life is her own business. Who she bangs is her own business. She has banged literally dudes, like a dude in this episode, just to like throw other people off her scent of her being like a lesbian and stuff. She was not happy and stuff. She said she doesn't want to be one of those, like she thought like if I like admit to who I am to like the world, like like will she have to change her appearance? Will she have to change her pronouns? Will she have to do this and do that? And so Alicia's all like, you're literally describing me. Like that's what you're doing. Like all this stuff that you're hating is literally me. Like Alicia she has changed her pronouns. She goes by she, hers, and hers, I think. I still don't understand this whole pronoun thing. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't understand what a hers with the S at the end is, like plural. I don't get that. Like I don't, like no part of my brain knows what that means and stuff. Because this didn't happen when I was growing up. So this is still very new, and I'm still trying my best like to learn this stuff. And so like Alicia has changed her appearance and everything. There's another thing she's all like Leighton was all like, well, I have to chop off my hair and everything like that. And so because Alicia does have short hair, and it's kind of like that does remind me of something. Like I've always wondered something. I notice when men come out the closet, all of a sudden their voice changes. It's more high pitched. They're more flamboyant. They probably dress more colorful and everything. With females, especially female celebrities that I like and follow, like when they finally came out to the whole world, I noticed something. Their appearance did change. They all chopped off their hair, they all changed their pronouns, and they all changed the way they dressed and everything. And I'm just kind of like, I don't, it's like I don't get that. I don't understand why the moment they tell the world who they are, they chop off their hair. I don't understand that about hair. Is it kind of like a ritual kind of thing, or is it kind of like they just want to be part of that community and they feel like they have to look that way? And so this is a very interesting topic and discussion to have with a lot of LGBT people who are afraid to come out, because it's not so much like, I guess, like people's approval. It's like her perspective of herself. And so when she does try to go back to um Alicia's just like, look, we're done. I don't want nothing to do with you. And she closes the door in her face. This causes Leighton to be very sad and depressed. And we actually get to see her sad and depressed, unlike Whitney and everything. So, of course, Kimberly, our main character, she goes in there to see what's wrong. And she finally tells somebody who she is. What she is. She finally tells, like, Kimberly, I'm a lesbian. And like me and Alicia have broken up, and I hate that I am like can't. She says she hates something. She hates who she is, not who she is because she's a lesbian, but because she can't accept herself for who she is. That's what she hates. And so then it's finally like, okay, they're finally redeeming this character in some form. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like she has these reservations, but she hates that she has those reservations. She just wants to be more open and free, but she can't because she is scared and everything. Also, when I said she started becoming a bit more of a likable character, is because she knows Kimberly is poor and she will help Kimberly out financially and everything, which is really sweet. Like towards the middle of the show, when she starts dating Alicia, she actually becomes a little bit of a nicer person and she's less rude and less blunt to people and stuff. So I wanted to talk about the Alicia and the frat boy peeing scene that happened around Lycan. I forgot to mention this before. So they're talking about something, and there's a frat guy out there, and he's pissing about 10 feet away from them, probably something like that. And so the girls are like, can you not do that around me? Which, yeah, that's so gross. And that happens at parties and stuff. And so normally when that happens, a person who's offended by that just like walks away. You know what I'm saying? And so he's all like, well, if you don't like it, leave and everything. Which, normally, like I said, that's what people normally do. Why stand there and like, look, it's kind of like because that happens at parties all the time and stuff. And it's gross and it's nasty. But then he does something disgusting. He calls her the D word, like a LGBT slur. And so her reaction is the reaction that all LGBT people feel when people call them slurs and everything. Same thing with race. When people call them slurs, they rage. And so she expressed herself in the way you would think a person would express themselves inside their mind. She attacked the crap out of him. And I mean, she attacked the crap out of him. She fussed him out. She shoved him to the ground, and then she started kicking him repeatedly. Then Lycan made her stop and took her like away from there. And so the girl tells her, why did you stop me from like defending myself? And Lycan brought up a good point. She said, the dude's like 6 foot like tall and you're just like 5 foot. He could have killed you and everything. And then so comedy reasons, she's all like, I'm not 5 feet, I'm 5'2". And then so it's just like, why throw in that stupid humor when this is supposed to be a good teaching dramatic lesson? You know what I'm saying? And so like, then that does bring up a good point. Like realistically, this would have never happened. First of all, this dude is 6 foot tall. She's 5'2", about 110 to 120 pounds. There's no way she could have shoved him to the ground and kicked him repeatedly. But he was drunk, so maybe that impaired him a little bit. However, there's a rule of thumb that I learned when I went to clubs and bars in college. I never drink. And I've always hoped by my friends, never ever pick a fight with a drunk person. Most likely you will always lose. Why? I don't know what it is. But the alcohol kind of like dulled their like pain and stuff like that. And mainly especially with the big ones and stuff. So there's no way that she like soaking like 100 pounds soaking wet, 5'2", would be able to whoop this dude. And so like, but I get why she did what she did. However, realistically, she would have been in jail. And of course, they don't show that. You're not supposed to attack people. She could have mouthed off to him and had this huge and powerful statement about why it's wrong to call people slurs and everything, and how he has no right to do that. But they did not do that. Instead, they let their fists fly in their anger, rage, what I get. You know what I'm saying? But this is supposed to be a teaching lesson for people of the LGBT community, whether they're closeted or not, it's not going to end well if they start picking fights with people. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, with, of course, Lycan, she's still closeted. The girl does not know that. And then so it's kind of like, it's reasons like this is why Lycan does not want to come out. And so the other girls just start like berating Lycan until Lycan kisses her to show her, hey, look, we're the same. And the girl's like, holy crap. Now, she did not ask consent to kiss that girl. I am so sick and tired of seeing this in TV shows because it's a double standard. If it's a man who kisses a woman, it's a huge deal, and rightfully so. They're not supposed to do that. But every time it's a female character, whether she's a lesbian or not, or a part of the LGBT community or not, they end up kissing other females without their permission. What's the point in the whole Me Too thing if you're not going to apply it to the females to show that, hey, you're not supposed to do this without asking the person? It's always made to look like a romantic thing when a woman does it to another woman in a TV show. But if a man does it, oh, canceled or something. Now it's finally getting to Bella. Bella is the one character that confuses the crimson waves out of me. Bella literally has my head scratching. And it's kind of like I don't really fully get her character and what she's all about. Because then when certain situations starts to happen, well, it was kind of like, well, technically shouldn't you been okay with that? But then you stop and you think, and when you watch more episodes, you're like, oh, so that's why that was such a problem and everything. But then it causes you to think, have that really huge moral discussion. And it causes you to waver back and forth of was something a misunderstanding, was something totally inappropriate. Should this person be fired, canceled, or should this person be like have a chance to like redeem themselves, but they should still be punished? It is those type of questions. So this is kind of gonna get like a little dicey and everything. So I'm trying to look through certain things, because after watching so many shows, because I research a lot of stuff, I read a lot of stuff, I watch a lot of shows on topics like this, about the whole Me Too era, the cancel culture, the Time's Up stuff, and it's just like it's always ever changing and shifting, and people's views are changing. When it first started, it's kind of like, well, that person, but when the Me Too thing started, people will get in trouble left and right, mainly dudes. A few women too. Women are just as guilty as men, but they don't like to admit it. But a lot of dudes were being like punished big time, and for good reason too. A lot of these dudes deserve to be canceled. I say it's like this: you don't want to be canceled, don't screw up. You know what I'm saying? The problem is so many people have screwed up in life, and a lot of times they don't even know that they're doing something wrong. And other times that they do, and it's kind of like, whoa, why did I do this? You know what I'm saying? And so, like, but sadly, it is a lot of men that do this. I don't know why it's a lot of men that do this. It's a hard topic and it's a hard discussion because there are so many factors in this. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I do believe into the Me Too era. I know a lot of people hate it. I know people hate cancel culture. Cancel culture is nothing but consequence culture. Like, you do something bad, you gotta be punished. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way life is. But there's also time for redemption if that person is truly redeemable. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what, you should always believe a victim, period. Because there are people who will not confess what a person has done to them, all because society has said whatever. You know what I'm saying? You probably enjoyed it in a way. And it's like, no, that should never happen to me and stuff. But then also it's kind of like, but once you do believe that person, then that is when you have to investigate, because people lie. And it don't matter if it's a male or female, they will lie. And like a lot of people, since they think women are perfect and little angels, they think a woman is not capable of lying or doing anything bad, but they are. And like there was something I just read just recently. There's a football player. He was arrested for he just got through having sex with a woman and he beat the crap out of her. Allegedly and stuff. She had black eyes, some bruises, this and that, right? She said he got too rough for sex and smacked her around and bruised her up. His case just now got dropped. Why? Because they found out through text messages, she asked for him to do that because she likes rough sex. She told him to be as rough and bruisey as he could be, and he did. So it was one of those situations where she lied, tried to have him arrested, and tried to get money from him when she actually asked for that to happen because she's the type of person who loves rough sex. She's one of those saint masochist type people, you know what I'm saying? And also like, so let's get into Bella, shall we? Bella is a sex freak, period. Online, it says she is sex positive. I have never heard that term until just now after reading, like, oh, okay, I've known people like this before. Like most people who are really sex positives are like mainly porn stars, some adult models, people who love that whole slut walk thing, free the nipples thing, and people who are just like constantly having sex and love it. Whether they love it just to love it or they've been traumatically disturbed to the point where they think they love it instead of because they're looking for love. So like she is a horny sex freak. Think of her as like Stifler. But with Stifler, we know exactly why he is the way he is and why his family members are the way they are, because his mom is that way and stuff. And so with her, it takes a good while to kind of figure it out why she is the way she is. We see her parents, because she's Indian American. So her parents are very proper, very prim. They want her to have a good education type thing. So you have to assume in the very first episode, okay, maybe that's why she is the way she is. I've met people like that who have come from like religious schools and then they get transferred to like a regular school and they turn into a freak. And so do a lot of non-religious people after coming from high school. They found they're alone and then they turn like sex nutty, you know what I'm saying? And so the whole sex positive thing is that you're supposed to have like a positive outlook on everything that is sexual and not supposed to like judge it and everything. Bella, she is constantly talking about sex like all the time and always talking about this and that. She even goes to, like, a naked party and she's very happy and free to go to it. She's getting like abs painted on her body, look great, and all this other stuff, right? Now, she wants to be a comedy writer. She loves comedy to death. Her parents don't want her to do that. They finally found out what her real major is, and they are not happy. They want her to be like a science major, a doctor, or something. So she comes from a very sheltered lifestyle. That's probably why she is a freak. Other than that, it's never revealed. And so, like, to do this whole comedy writing thing, she wants to be part of this writing society on campus. Problem is mostly male. There's a few females, like 2 at the most, that are like the higher upper level, and they the ones who get to judge who gets to be in their organization, right? So when she goes to like this frat party and she's talking to this one dude. Now the one dude, we see him a lot. I forget his name, but I'll get to him a little bit later because he does come up in her whole Me Too discussion thing. So she is all like, so, you know, like, I want to be in this thing. And they're like, well, you know, you have to be voted in. You have to be voted in by the higher ups first to get on like the short list. And then once you're on the short list, you get on the even shorter list and then you make it. So then she's like, well, who do I have to talk to? What that she does in the first episode that she's so happy and proud about, she gave 6 hand jobs to 6 random dudes she's never met before, just so she can get on the short list, and it works. She was a whacking and a jacking, and they show it. Not the actual dude shillelaghs, but they were showing her enjoying herself. So her roommates are kind of just like, dude, what the world is wrong with you? Why would you do that for? She's like, it's no big deal and everything. And I was like, I have fun, blah, 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 stuff like that. So she's very excited about like whacking and jacking those 6 dudes who she never met. Until it is revealed they all have girlfriends. And when you look at these dudes, kind of like, dude, how did you get a girlfriend? Especially when you see what the girlfriends look like. So she is now hated because of this. And she is now called like a slut and everything. But you know, if you do something like that, what do you think you're going to get called? You know what I'm saying? And she didn't even stop to think that they might have like girlfriends and everything. But still, the fact is that she did that to a bunch of random dudes who she never met. And what if they would have had like an STD? You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. And so, like, one of the girls she pisses off is one of the head people at the writing thing. And so she's talking to her at the naked party. And yes, they are naked. And so, um, the girl telling her, like, "Look, I thought you was actually funny and everything, and that's why I initially voted for you. And then I found out you did my boyfriend, and so like that's totally such. She's like, oh, you think I'm funny? She doesn't even like she like the thing about Bella is that every time there's a dramatic thing, she always lighten the mood and humor, and that's what it's like a whole Josh Whedon thing. I hate that because it's a serious matter, but then they muck it up with like comedy, and then so like. She's like, okay, but well, I can forgive you and all that, because you didn't know that they had girlfriends. She's like, ah, thank. And she gives her a hug while both of them are naked. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, you did not ask her to hug her while you're naked. That is a no-no. And but of course, because they're both female, it's like, oh, that's all right. But then watch, if it would have been a male do that, you would never hear the end of it. You know what I'm saying? And so like, and so like, she literally demeaned herself just to get higher up in a position, and it worked. Now, when she's at another frat party, oh, before she gets to a frat party, she meets a guy on campus, and she sees his abs, and she's automatically turned on. Right? This is the part also that confuses me about her. So she's turned on by his abs, and then one day she starts talking to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I heard you like speak and talk about you're like really funny." She's like, "Really?" So they clickety clack, and she's having a great time because while she's doing him, she's like just looking at his abs and everything, right? But then when she would say something, he's like, "Oh, you're so funny," and he's like, "Oh," and then she'll say something again, and he's like, "Oh, you're so funny," and she'll say something again, he's like, "Oh, you're so funny," and he thinks she's funny and everything. So she is banging him because of the abs, and it's not really revealed why he's banging her, but she now assumes it's because she's funny and he likes that. So okay, he's turned on by funny women. She has a problem with that. She is completely turned off and completely just annoys him. Don't even talk to him no more. And her roommates all like, this is kind of double standard. Like, you banged him because of the abs, but he's banging you because you're funny and you don't like that. She's like, yeah. She's all like, I know I'm funny and everything. And it's just like, but I don't want people to think that's the only thing about me. This is like, but that's what she does want everybody to know about her, that she is funny. That's why she is like a comedy writer and stuff. And so it's like very confusing. It's kind of like, I don't get that. It's like, so she used him all because of how hot he was, but he might have genuinely liked her because of how humorous she is, and of course she's gorgeous. And but no, that's not good enough for her. So I don't understand that and everything, and I just don't understand that. So then a situation happened at a frat party. This is that frat party I was telling you about, the one where the dude pissed and then Alicia beat him up, and Whitney was like running on the treadmill and stuff like that. So she's talking to one of the head up writer dudes. He's part of this fraternity, right? And they're talking, and he's all like, "Oh, hey, I want to show you this funny video." She's like, "Okay, sure." It turns out to be porn, and she's very turned off by that. So then it cuts from that, and then it shows her outside talking to her roommate, talking about how she is disturbed. And so I'm thinking to myself, "Oh crap, did something happen to her?" Nah, he just showed her like the porno video. And so I was very confused when I first watched this. I was like, well, if she's like sex positive and everything, shouldn't she like enjoy watching porn with people? Like, that's why I first assumed, you know what I'm saying? This is literally what guys do. Why guys do this, I have no idea. And so, like, but the problem, the mistake that this guy made on the show was that he did not tell her what they were going to watch. He did not tell her. And so she then was, when she was disturbed, nothing. He didn't touch her, nothing like that, right? At that time. And so she goes to her roommate. She's all like, he just wanted to show me this video that was funny, but I didn't find it funny. And he didn't even tell me what we were going to watch. She's like, well, what was it? And then so she shows her roommates the video. And so then I'm just kind of like, I don't remember if she told them. She told them it was porn. So so she shows it to them. And so it's like, I don't think they asked to see it. She just up and showed them and everything. And so then it was kind of like, okay, why was it bad when he showed it to her, but then she showed it to her female friend? So I was very confused by that. But then I knew eventually something was going to happen, because not only is she very like a horny person and always talking about sex and always making sex jokes, but eventually it did get around school that she whacked those dudes off. So I knew something bad was going to happen, and sadly it did. However, it did not happen the way I thought it would. I assumed she was going to get sexually assaulted, like raped, but she didn't. Instead, she did get sexually assaulted, but not the kind of way you think. See, that same guy took her up to the room when he was showing these other people these rooms, like a bunch of people, and they all leave. He closes the door, and then they start to bond because she knew a lot about SNL. She knows every host, every singer, every this and that, right? So he's very like, oh wow, he's very impressed. So they bond over this. When she turns around and is talking to him, all of a sudden he just gets up from behind her and he starts humping on her. And she's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he didn't use his hands to touch her. He didn't rape her. He didn't force her against her will. He didn't keep her in the room. But he just started dry humping her like a dog for some bizarre reason. So she was not okay with that, and she leaves, and she was offended. Now, dudes have no business doing this to a girl. That is literally like, he touched her with his you know what, his shillelagh, you know what I'm saying, as it was all like rock solid hard and everything. And so he had no business doing that whatsoever. And so then like but then it's kind of like, well, why exactly did he do this? Because at first it's not really revealed, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, did he think they was having like a bonding moment and kind of took us, and then because she's so easy, um, like, did he think that she's easy and will do him and everything? And because they bonded, like, was he trying to put like the moves on her? But if you're gonna put the move, why you gonna put on the moves like that? You know what I'm saying? And then so some people might assume that, okay, either this was mixed signals or taken the wrong way, or he's just a nasty pervert, right? So then we find out something interesting about him. She's talking to one of the other like writers who's trying to get into that elite club, right? But she doesn't like this girl at all. And so when she's talking to her, the girl is all like confesses all like that same dude. I forget his name. It might be Ryan or something like that. She tells him like the blonde girl tells her that he got her alone in the room with her and he just flashed his dick at her, or Shalane, I should say. And she's all like, has that ever happened to you? And so Bella lies and like, nah, and everything. The girl can tell she's lying. So the next day, the other girl quits the writing society club, right? Bella now is upset by this because she's all like, crap, dude. Like, I silenced that girl. Like, she was like confessing something to me and I should confess back. Because this dude apparently does this to people. He just like shows like his things to people and all this other stuff he's trying to get with somebody. Now, before all this happened, and before, I don't know if it was before he humped her or not, but there's literally a scene with her when she's going, oh yeah, yeah, so there's literally a scene. It might be after he humped her and stuff. So there's a scene. So this is the part where this show is kind of weird and it takes you out the mood because it's like, okay, something terrible has happened, but then they do this stupid humor crap. And then they make her look a little bit more sluttier than what she acts like she is and stuff. So she's reading her paper, and she's on her back. And I noticed you can't really see like her, you can see a lot of her neck area and shoulder area. Like, okay, I think I know what's going on. And she's talking, and it sounds like she's talking to somebody else. And she wants somebody like to pre-fruit something or see if her joke is funny. And it's a dude literally going down on her as she's doing her comedy sketch stuff. I can't remember if this happened before or after he humped her, but why would you show that scene before or after that happened? Because then you're gonna make it look like she is literally the type of person who is like basically like a slut or whore who invites this crap. And you know somebody's gonna think that. So then she goes to like Leighton and her friends and she's all like, I silenced this girl. This dude did this to me. Remember the video I showed you? She's like, he literally humped me and everything. And he had no business doing that. He was so like, he had no business doing that. So Leighton takes her and her the blonde girl to go see Alicia so she can talk to them about like she's here for them. So then both girls decide they're gonna report this dude. So then when they go to the head, they're all like, we need to know exactly what happened and this and that. So in case the investigation has to take place. And she's like, well, what do we do now? She tells Bella, no, it's best if you just don't go to that Writers Society club until all this boils over and the investigation happens. She's all like, why am I being punished for all this stuff and everything? So then she was gonna avoid going there, but then she does go there, right? And then when she does go there, she gets two of the people to talk to him about what happened. It's the girl who boyfriend she whacked, who she was naked and gave a hug to, and it's that other dude who told her, well, he isn't the one who makes these decisions, and he tells her there aren't that many female on the thing, and you're gonna have to talk to like this person and that person, right? And so and that's when she whacked them 6 dudes off. So of course the discussion happens, and so the discussion happens, and so the one girl who was naked with her at the party, she's all like, this is terrible, we have to do something about this. Now the guy is all like, whoa, hold up, this is my best friend you're talking about, and he would never do nothing like this to anybody, and y'all, you must be mistaken. And she's like, no, he did this like another girl. Well, he exposed himself. And so then it becomes a discussion where the other girls all talking about, you're supposed to believe girls and all this other stuff. And he's all like, how do I know this even really happened or not and everything? And is it really that bad of a thing he did when he just exposed or humped her? Because technically he never raped them. And he never forced them to stay there. When they wanted to leave, they left. And so he's saying in his head that what this dude did was wrong, but it's not that bad. I have heard this discussion a lot, especially on The View and stuff. And the women always debate about this. One minute they're against it, and then one minute they're all like, oh, okay, well, it ain't that bad. Then, because mostly it's a friend of theirs, something like that. So the dude walks off pissed off, mad, talking about my friend will never do this, right? So then she's in her her dorm room, and then the dude, I forget his name, I just call him dude with glasses because he has glasses and a beard. So he goes to her dorm, and he's all like, she doesn't really want to talk to me, look, I wrote you a note because I can't express myself. I can do it better at writing. And he tells her, I believe you. I'm gonna believe you. I should have believed you from the beginning. And I feel sorry for her and everything. So now this is when the naked lady, and I don't know their names, so I'm just calling them out. I remember them as. And so the dude who keeps messing with girls, he shows up. So they all confess to what you did. And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And she's all like, you dry humped me and everything with your big heart. They always had to bring humor. She had to talk about the size of his what. And so that's what I don't understand. This is supposed to be a serious moment, and 2 times they throw in humor to throw you off, and I don't understand that. And so it's like, if this is supposed to be a serious matter, make it serious. Don't bring in this stupid humor. So she's talking about, you touched me with your big heart, like blah blah blah. And then he's all like, whoa, whoa, hold up. And then so the dude, his friends are like, no, you hold up, man. What you did was wrong. You had no business doing it. And he's all like, dude, you're taking her word over mine. She literally jacked off 8 guys. And she's all like, excuse me, it was 6 guys. And then he's all like, so what? Like, you literally do stuff like that just to get like a head in like the paper thing and stuff like that. So why should they believe you? And so they're all like, well, we do believe her and you're fired and everything. So here's my thing about this. Now, we, the audience, we know he is guilty. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know. But let's look at this in a realistic term. Let us say he gets accused of this in real life, right? Or say we didn't even see it on screen and she says this happened to her. First thing you do is you do believe her. I don't care what anybody says. You believe the victim. Then the moment after you believe them, you are supposed to investigate stuff. And so the problem I'm having here is that, okay, we do know he did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? But they never investigate to see if what he did was true. They just automatically assume, they automatically believe the female, and he gets fired because of this. And it's kind of like, that's not teaching people nothing. You're literally teaching a person that you can say something and you're supposed to believe them, and then you automatically fired. That's what happened with the whole Salem witch trial when they said, oh, this person's a witch. Of course, there's no such thing as like magical people flying around on broomsticks and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, but they believe that, and these people lost their lives for that. And so it's kind of like, I feel like this was an important episode. This was an important discussion to have, but they ruined it by, one, throwing in humor, and 2, not properly showing you how you're supposed to handle this situation. This is why this show should have been longer. If they would have had more episodes, they could have did more, and they could have investigated and stuff like that. And so, like, because of that, she decides, you know what, after he gets fired, she's like, you know what, this place isn't for me. I don't need it. It's too corrupt and everything. Here's the thing. It is too corrupt because there's too many men there who don't let a lot of the female writers join. But here's the problem. She said it's too corrupt and there's too much like this and that. The problem is, does she not remember how she got on board? She literally jacked like 6 dudes and everything just to get on like the short list and stuff. So when she says it's too corrupt, she literally benefited from that because they were not going to accept her until she did that. And then she got on the actual committee because that dude like assaulted her and stuff. So it's like, it's weird that she came to that conclusion. But now it's made that she looks like a hero and everything. The only way she is a hero that she got that dude ousted. That's the only part that I can see where she was a hero. Other than that, I refuse to accept she's a hero for saying like, you know, this place is too corrupt. Because she did what she did to get on there. And as a result, both her and her and this other female came to her and they're like, you know what, after you quit, we quit too, because you was right, this place is too corrupt and we're not going to we're going to make our own female writing club. That's cool and all, but my problem with that is, why exclude the men? Or why even quit? Wouldn't it have been better for them to stay there and change the corrupt system, change the male writing club thing to where they do accept more females? They stop making the men, when the men stop like doing stuff with women that's like inappropriate and everything. Wouldn't that have been better? Wouldn't that have been like a better teaching lesson for them to change the status quo? You know what I'm saying? Instead of just telling young girls, oh, you should just quit. Because you're not always going to form your own thing, you know? So there's a situation where she's at this like little mixer thing for the comedy people and the writer folks. And so like there's this dude who she respects a lot. And he decides he's gonna almost not really so much roast her, but do like a little comedy sketch and just like berate the crap out of her. Like just slang her like a bunch of jokes, and it really offends her. I think he said something about like, oh, she's a woman writer, like no good, something like that. And it really pisses her off, and rightfully so, right? And then so she decides she's gonna berate him in front of like everybody, talking about how he's like useless, washed up, not as funny as she thought he was, and old material stuff like that. He gets so offended that he says that like he's going to pull his funding that he donated to their writers club, right? So the dude with the glasses who she normally talks to, he's like, wait, what? We need that donation. So he chases after the dude, try to get it back, right? And so like, okay, what that dude did was wrong, but you know, since she's like in the comedy, he's a comedy dude, and he pretty much just like roasted her, you think she would just like laugh it off or be all like, you know, oh, it's just a joke. Cause comedy is like subjective and everything, and it's kind of like there are some people who do brash, rude comedy, some people who don't, and people who normally do the brash, rude thing, they always just say, oh, you know, it's just a joke. And that's kind of like the mentality when it comes to like comedians and stuff, which is why I don't like comedians that much. They always think everything's funny and they take things too far sometimes. And so like you could, so like that's a huge thing. They lost their donation. You don't have your donation, your club can't like, you know, have the funds it need to like stay open and stuff, right? So you think that'd be like a huge thing, and it would be like a huge situation and everything. She like, crap, I like, even though I did the right thing, I screwed up, you know what I'm saying? The LGBT representation in that seemed very cringy at like best, which is ironic because Justin Noble, who is a co-creator and writer of many episodes, is part of the LGBT. Mindy Kaling, I have no idea what she is. I have no idea. I just know she's married to a man. That's all I know. And so like, and just because you're married to a man, and nowadays doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? With this show, the third, okay, they have an LGBT main character, and it's Lighten, and so she's closeted. She does not want to come out for some bizarre reason. Episode 3. At the end of episode 2, she got in trouble for vandalizing a statue. Because of that, she had to do some type of community service, had joined like some type of program in the school. I don't know if she chose it or the dean chose it for her, but she joined this all-female feminist group. And all of the feminists in here are part of, like, ironically, the LGBT community. You can tell just by looking at them. And in that episode, like the third one, I was just like, do people really talk like this? 'Cause I was just so confused and everything. Cause like I haven't been in college since about 15 years, and so like I just don't get it. Like when I heard them talk, I'm just like, do people really talk like this? And more importantly, do people in the LGBT community talk like this? Because I've already criticized this show for the dialogue, because it has really strange dialogue, and just no matter what type of character you have. But then when they got to the LGBT people, I'm just like, I feel like I'm watching like an SNL skit. Like, you know that one person Cecily Strong plays, the one girl at a party you never want to have a conversation with? It reminded me of that. And it got to the point where I had to pause the people talking in episode 3 who was LGBT, because it was kind of like, it sounded so cringy. And I had to ask myself in my head, is this real? Is this like the way they really talk? And there's no depth to them and everything. Also with these characters that they just now introduced as recurring, one is main, there's really no true depth to them. The one who is main, God, I forgot her name. I don't know nothing about her other than she's extremely pro like LGBT in a very pushy shovey down your throat kind of way, you know what I'm saying? And she comes off as kind of like strange and like weird. Actually, all the LGBT people in this show come off as strange and weird for some reason, I've noticed. When the gay men showed up, they came off as kind of like creepy, nerdy and everything. Then when the 5th episode, when they, this is what part that I started talking about. Stop. There's one female who's kind of like, she has this huge overcoat on, right? And it's buttoned up. He's all like, oh, might I take your coat? Trying to be like a gentleman and everything. She's like, no, I'm gonna keep my coat on and I'm gonna keep it buttoned up. So it's kind of like she's trying to portray the whole, okay, you're a man, you're straight, you might objectify me, you might try to touch me, you might like stare at my boobs or something like that. And I'm just like, how is that teaching people LGBT positivity or like female positivity when you're totally objectifying a man as being a nasty little pig? You know what I'm saying? Actually, the person in the trench coat might not be part of the LGBT. She might just be a paranoid, like feminist or something like that. But I do remember there's a non-binary person. And the non-binary person, see, it's like that person's only there to state what they are, and there's nothing to that person. They just stated that they tried to date this one girl, and the parents found out, and they wasn't okay with it. And that's it. There's no depth to the non-binary person. There's no real characteristics to this person. The person is just there to almost kind of just like check it off a list. And I'm just like, if you're gonna have a person like that, why not do something with this person? Why not see that person get rejected or like something, like, you know what I'm saying? But all in all, this is a pretty okay show. It's just not perfect. It's weird. They want to give you a bunch of moral lessons, but they're very like double standard about it, especially when it comes to like the male versus female thing. Now, wasn't that romantic or depressing, depending on what kind of video I just talked about? Okay, well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody, and bye.